So yesterday was the start of the trial. What trial am I talking about? You know what it is. Derek Chauvin, whatever this piece of crap's name is, pronunciation. The former officer that killed George Floyd. His trial, Chauvin, started yesterday. Attorneys for Derek Chauvin claim that the officers who were present on the day George Floyd was murdered, they were distracted by the crowd that formed around them. They deemed the crowd to be a threat. They watched as the former officer killed George Floyd. So, as I said yesterday, the opening statements were made in this murder trial. The suspect's attorney argued in the defense of the cops, of course, who responded to calls for George Floyd's alleged use of a counterfeit bill at the Cup Foods grocery store nearby. I mean, the way that you handle things, I've run businesses before. Someone brings in fake money. I mean, you can not take it. All right. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do. Alert them to it being fake. But this alleged attempt to use the counterfeit bill ended with the death of George Floyd. Attorney said there are people across the street. There are cars stopping, people yelling. There's a growing crowd, what officers perceive to be a threat. They're called names. I heard them this morning. Effing bum. They're screaming at him, causing the officer to divert their attention from the care of Mr. Floyd to the threat that was growing in front of them. The care of Mr. Floyd. It's ironic that they use the word care. There was no care given to George Floyd. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. But yet they use words like care. Very ironic. So, Chauvin's defense also reiterated the very bold claim that George Floyd's death was the result of a drug overdose rather than suffocation that we clearly saw on camera. Their client's excessive use of force, keeping his knee on George Floyd's neck. They say these things did not kill George Floyd. It's unbelievable. They added that a witness said that the late victim seemed to be drunk when he purchased cigarettes at the grocery store. Even if he was drunk, regardless of intoxication, the knee on the neck, you know what I mean? That's like someone being shot. You say, oh, he didn't die from the bullet. He died of a heart attack. What? Prosecution admitted that Floyd struggled with substance abuse issues, but argued that the video of the horrific death shows the late man was a victim of a murder. So, I mean, this is what really bothers me about this case is that I have no faith, zero faith in the justice system with regards to a police officer being accused of murder. Zero. I believe that I know how this is going to end. It is not going to be with the officer being convicted in the way that he deserves. So The prosecution, this is not an easy case. Just because we have video footage does not make it an easy case at all. So the prosecutor, Jerry Blackwell, argued that the video of the horrific death shows that the late man was the victim of a murder. Hello, Captain Obvious. Specifically a suffocation that resulted in his inability to breathe. He claimed that Chauvin betrayed his badge during Floyd's death and proceeded to show bystander video of the incident. This video footage that we have seen numerous times, very disturbing footage, but it is something that has to be shown, considering the case. Just tuning in, Shman Diamond K in the morning on the all-new radioonfire.com. Thank you for joining me. I am here weekdays, 8 a.m., radioonfire.com. Anywhere you get your podcast, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, etc., Facebook, Instagram, you can check us out. Just search Diamond K in the morning. So the first witnesses were called. They took the stand. Jenna Lee Scurry, the 911 dispatcher working the day of Floyd's death, recalled seeing portions of Floyd's arrest from city surveillance videos. A lot of footage of this murder. At first glance, she said that he was in a cop car. When she looked up at the second time, she looked at the camera. She noticed that he was on the ground, surrounded by people in the video who seemed to be standing still. I first asked if the screens had frozen because it hadn't changed. I became concerned that something might be wrong, she explained. She said she reported her concerns to her supervisor, adding, "You can call me a snitch if you want to. I don't know if they have used force or not. They got something out of the squad car, and all of them sat on this man." So that is very damaging testimony. I just don't know. I don't feel like this is going to go the way that it needs to go. Does it ever? Does it ever? Chauvin is currently facing charges of second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter in connection with Floyd's death. So what needs to be the punishment here? We're going to see what the jury says. This murder case is not hard when you watch that torture video of George Floyd. But of course, the defense is going to spin it around. There's this police officer thing, that this infatuation that the justice system have with police, to the point where they can't recognize bad police officers. And when it's painfully obvious, they make excuses for the officers. So they're calling this video torture, and it was torture. It's torture definitely for the late George Floyd. I don't think that people are asking anything extraordinary to just convict based on what you saw. But you're going to hear a whole lot of unbelievable things. Witnesses said that the former officer used a blood choke on George Floyd. Opening statements to begin this murder trial. Montgomery County Police released video showing officers handcuffing a 5-year-old boy. That footage has been floating around, and there's so much. There's so much. Just tune in, Diamond K in the morning on the all-new radioonfire.com. Of course, on social media, I am at The Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire. And we're going to be talking about this case as it continues to to go on. I estimate this is going to probably be a 3 or 4 week thing where they're going to have people come out and try to talk about this case, the murder of George Floyd, like we didn't see it on camera happening in real time. And the fact that they're trying to make the crowd part of the reason why they said give care to George Floyd because of this big crowd. Unbelievable. Here on the program, we deliver the biggest political and trending news stories of the day with interviews, original reporting, streaming from Atlanta and Baltimore. This show is fun. It's upbeat at times, but I always want to expose what is really happening in America. New episodes of the program Monday through Friday, 8 a.m., but I don't want you to miss any of our live broadcasts. In addition to the 8 a.m. program, we drop content throughout the day as news happens. Hit that notification bell so you get an alert whenever we go live. Diamond K in the Morning is also available in the WRF Radio app. Simply download WRF Radio in your app store. Leave me a comment. You can scroll your timeline, attend a Zoom meeting, do some online shopping, send an email, all by listening to Diamond K in the Morning. And WRF Radio has a very interesting lineup. I encourage you to check it out. DJ Cornbread does their midday mix. Morgan Brittany hosts the Top 10 at 10 countdown. A lot of things going on over there. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back with more of the program after this. Radio on Fire is a listener-supported radio and podcast network streaming from our production facilities in Baltimore and Atlanta. We're able to broadcast programs like the Diamond K Show because of our listeners and some amazing partners like The Lifestyle Secrets. Are you a baby boomer? Were you born between 1946 and 1964? Well, more than 71 million Americans are baby boomers. And as you're continuing to age, the goal is to experience as few aches and pains as possible while staying mobile. TheLifestyleSecrets.com helps you do just that by providing a blueprint to reduce and or eliminate joint pain by teaching its members to communicate naturally with their bodies. TheLifestyleSecrets.com gives baby boomers step-by-step videos, natural recipes, and most importantly, the motivation to re-energize themselves naturally. Visit TheLifestyleSecrets.com to join this active community of baby boomers today. And I encourage you to shop with all the companies that support Radio on Fire. Before we get back to the show, have you ever had a NutriBurst liquid vitamin? This stuff tastes great, and they say it's great for you. NutriBurst liquid vitamin. Now, my girl Moochie told me about this, and me and Moochie go way back. She said, Diamond K, you have got to try this. So I asked Moochie, what's so special about NutriBurst liquid vitamin? What makes it so good? Then she gave me the rundown. Check this out. 72 minerals, 10 vitamins, 22 phytonutrients, 19 amino acids, 13 whole vegetables, and 20 herbs. Get your NutriBurst liquid vitamin today at totallifechanges.com/mymoochie. That's totallifechanges.com/mymoochie. Tell them Radio on Fire sent you.
Giving you more talk, more news, and more music. It's Radio on Fire.
This pandemic has really sped up what was already happening. The world has become even more digital. Folks are on their computers, their tablets, their phones, all the time. This is where people go to get their information. Here at Radio on Fire, our target listener is 23 to 54 years old. So business owners, I know times are hard. But I also know how important it is to get in front of your customers. Advertise your business, product, service, or event on Diamond K in the Morning or any of the other Radio on Fire programs. We have an affordable package for you. Visit radioonfire.com/advertise to get started. Again, radioonfire.com/advertise. We'd love to connect with you. And we are back. His death captivated this country and ignited protests in the street last summer, 2020. And 2021, the trial of his murderer, former policeman, Derek Chauvin, is definitely going to captivate the country once again. Witnesses described seeing the life literally fade away. They described seeing George Floyd's life fading in front of their eyes. One of the men who was among the onlookers shouting at former Minneapolis cop to get off of the neck of George Floyd last May, testified, and he's going to testify today. But some of his testimony from yesterday, he described seeing Floyd struggle for air and his eyes rolling in the back of his head. And he said that he thought that Floyd was like a fish in a bag, with the fadeaway. Donald Williams, one of the onlookers, a former wrestler, said that he was trained in mixed martial arts, including chokeholds, testified yesterday that he thought that Derek Chauvin used a shimmying motion several times to increase the pressure on George Floyd, pressure on his neck. He said that he yelled at the officer that he was cutting off Floyd's blood supply. And of course, the despicable, disgraceful former cop just sat there with that smug look on his face. The witness recalled that Floyd's voice grew thicker as his breathing became more labored, and eventually he just stopped moving. From there on, he was lifeless. Yet Chauvin, I guess he was in fear, kept his foot on his neck, hands in his pocket. He was worried about the crowd, as they said yesterday. He's worried about the crowd. He would have just sat there with his hands in his pocket, looking like the smug piece of crap that he is. Lifeless, didn't move, didn't speak. He did not have any life in him. That is how they described George Floyd's last moments. Williams was among the first prosecution witness as the trial opened for the 45-year-old Chauvin, who is charged with murder and manslaughter in George Floyd's death. Prosecutors led off their case by playing part of the bystander video that many have seen that captured Floyd's arrest on May 25th, 2020. Chauvin and 3 other officers were fired soon after the video touched off the outrage, the protest, sometimes violent, that spread from Minneapolis and around the world. So the white officer didn't let up, even after a handcuffed Floyd said 27 times that he couldn't breathe and went limp. This is from the prosecutor, Jerry Blackwell, and we know about the 9 minutes and 29 seconds, the amount of time that Chauvin had Floyd pinned to the pavement last May. Chauvin is a coward. Chauvin is a murderer. And it is up to this jury. It is up to this jury to deliver the obvious result. The result that your eyes see, and it is up to the prosecutor to prove. Not an easy case at all. The defense obviously is disputing that Chauvin is to blame for Floyd's death, as obvious as it is to us. Amazing. I think he would have been better off with the insanity plea, because this is ridiculous. Floyd was 46 years old and had none of the telltale signs of asphyxiation, and he had fentanyl and methamphetamine in his system, the defense said. None of the telltale signs of asphyxiation. He said that Floyd's drug use, combined with his heart disease, high blood pressure, and the adrenaline flowing through his body, caused a heart rhythm disturbance that killed him. So normally, you should be able to sustain and live with someone's knee on your neck for almost 10 minutes. Is that what this despicable defense is? Well, why don't anyone put their knee on Derek Chauvin's neck for 10 minutes while he's cuffed and shimmy around and see if he survives? Yeah. It is disturbing, and I'm sure that as we continue with this trial, the Minneapolis police officer, former Minneapolis police officer, is going to try to make the deceased responsible for his death. The video played during the opening statements was posted to Facebook by bystanders, if you remember, who witnessed this. This was definitely difficult to watch. And as this trial goes on, it is going to be a serious situation. The downtown Minneapolis courthouse has been fortified with concrete barriers, fences, and barbed wire and razors. The city and the state leaders are determined to prevent a repeat of the riots that followed his death. National Guard troops have already been mobilized. I really, really am dreading the result of this. If the people don't like the result, if we get the same result we've been getting, the trial is being live streamed over the objections of the prosecution. Judge Peter Cahill ordered that cameras be allowed largely because of the pandemic and the required social distancing, which left almost no room for spectators in the courtroom. I think this is the best thing. People do need to see this. 3 other former officers go on trial in August because Cahill ruled there wasn't enough space to try all 4 at once. This is this is going to be a very, very difficult next few months. We're going to continue to follow this trial. And definitely want to know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire, of course. Anywhere that you get podcasts, just search Diamond K in the Morning. And make sure that you like and subscribe to the program. Get breaking news and adult conversations covering topics that are important to the Black culture, important to America. Visit radioonfire.com for our original radio podcast and TV programs. Also, radioonfire.com/join. Become a member of the Radio on Fire VIP Club. There are a couple different options. And you can always support the program via Cash App. And you can do that $DJ Diamond K. RadioOnFire.com. You can donate there. PayPal.me/RadioOnFire. All ways that you can help the program. And I will see you guys tomorrow.